Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone and welcome to another very exciting tutorial. This time I came up with a very exciting thing, and it's a new package, a new tutorial series where I will be explaining how to make an entire game. Now this game is a mobile game where we will do everything, like literally everything. We will do the levels, the sounds, the everything that a game requires, a complete game. So I hope that you're excited, just like me, and let's get going. So let me just explain to you what is the game and how it works. Now, as you see, it's a very easy game. There's no, like, it's not something complicated. And by the way, you will get the assets, the files, so don't worry about anything. All you need is to learn how to code. Okay, that's the most important thing about this entire series. So let me tell you about the game. So we have a bouncer. The game is called Bouncer. Okay, we have a small ball. That's it. And basically, every time you click or you press or you tap, it bounces. Okay. The thing it starts bouncing towards the side. For example, it starts bouncing to the right, and when it hits a wall, you see this is a wall, a flat wall, it will reflect and bounce towards the opposite side. But if it hits the spikes, it would die basically. Now, this game is easy. It's very easy, but it's cool, believe me. Now, why is it cool? Because every time you hit a wall, this wall will leave the screen, will slide to the right, and a new wall would come with a random position of the walls. Okay, so the spikes would be in different position, and the flat walls would be in another position. So it's a cool game, believe me. Now, how we would do this, basically the bouncer would be just an ordinary bouncer. It's a very small code, but the wall is a very exciting code because there are two ways to do this. First is using an array, and you know what is array? It's giving one variable, then attaching this variable to an array, which means, for example, let's say a variable is wall, there will be wall 0, wall 1, wall 2, and so on. So this is the array. But what I'm going to do is I'll make a list, okay? A list of positions. Then I'll attach the walls and the spikes to this position. Then I will shuffle the list, okay, and load it again. So when you load the shuffled list, every single piece will have a new position, and that's exactly what I want. So let's just go and jump onto Gamemaker. Now, first thing, you want to make sure that your PC is on. Next, you want to open Gamemaker Studio. Now, as I told you, you will get these files. Now, in here, I have two different types of walls. One is the flat ones, and second one is with spikes. Now, as you see, there are different sizes, 3 sizes, and actually this one looks small, like thinner, but it's actually the same size. It's just it's viewed like this. Now we have a background and the ball itself. Now what I want to do is I'll just go and load the sprites. So let me just go and make a group and call it walls, and then load a sprite. Now the sprite would be sprite 0, okay, and I'll just call it S0. I'll make it precise collision. I'll center the origin, then I'll push the origin towards the end. So 60, because you see the width is 60, and this is very important. Why? Because I want to create this object outside the room, because I want the object to slide in the room, not to just appear there. So keep this in mind. I'll just load the other sprite and basically do just the same thing. Make the origin at the far end and call it spike 1, and create another one, load the third one. Just do this very quickly. S2 and precise, and that's it. Now I'll just go and load the walls, and we'll just call them walls W0, and basically do the same thing, like literally every single one of them. Some of you might be saying why you don't load them all together, but well, I like them like this. I want them like this. This way makes me more comfortable. And the last one. Sorry, we have wasted like a minute on this, but it was necessary. 2 and precise. Now we want to load the ball itself, and I'll center this, and I'll go and change it to ellipse and call this sprite ball. Good. Now the next thing I want to do, I will just go and load the backgrounds, and it doesn't matter how we call this, and let's go and create a room, call it room game. Now the size is up to you. I'm just choosing this size. It's very important. I will have a speed of 60. Okay, then you go to backgrounds and load the background. That's very basic, you know? And there is one thing. I'll just go to the views and enable the views, but you don't need to do this. I'm doing this just in order to show you how the game looks like, because I'm recording in 720. This is the view size, so you won't be able to see it because we are using 960. So what I will do is just go and make the view smaller. So it'll be 360 and 640. So just to make it smaller so I would see it. Understand? Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'll just go to the objects and create an object. And I'll call this a level optimizer. Good? Yes, I spelled that correctly. Now what we want to do is click OK and create another object. And we'll call this object bouncer or ball. Let's call it ball. It's okay. And create another object, or let's create a group and call it walls. Then I'll just go and create an object and call it object wall. Okay, and I'll just give it the sprite of the wall, and I'll create another one and call it object spike. Great. Give it the sprite of the spike, and for now, just for now, I will later on I will change this, but just for now I'll make it a child of the wall. Okay, so what will happen, everything we do in a wall, it will just go and happen in the object spike. That's great. Now what we will do is first we'll just create everything. So what I want to put in the room is the object level optimizer, and that's it. The level optimizer will create everything else. Now we'll go into the level optimizer and the create events, obviously we want to create the main object, which is the ball, so we'll say instance, and it will be 270, which is the center of the room, and let's say 600, and it will be ball. Great. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to create the walls, and as I told you, I want to use a list. Okay, so we'll go back to create event and create two lists. One list is the left side and one is the right side. So say left equals ds list create. Great. And we'll just copy that and change this to right. That's amazing. That's all what we need actually. Now I will just go and create a script. And actually I could just type it here, but I prefer to use a script. And I'll call this script create a wall CW. Okay? And inside this we will just use the list in here. Okay, so what we will basically do is I'll add the walls to the list. So we'll say let's create the left side. So we'll add to the list the walls and the spikes. So first we'll say ds list add. Okay, now we need an ID and a value. And as you remember, we had two IDs, two lists. One is the left and one is the right. So here we'll use the left one because we're creating the left side. Then we'll create two walls. Okay, let me show you the game. In the game we have 5 walls actually, but I want to create 6 walls. One would be here below. It won't be visible. And the good thing about this is you can create 2 walls, okay, but if you are lucky you get both of them visible. If you are not lucky you get one of them visible, and that's cool. That raises the difficulty of the game. So we'll say wall, great, and I'll just copy that and paste it again. Okay, so we will have 2 walls in position 0 and position 1 of the DS list. Next, I'll just paste this again, but I'll just call it it's object wall. I just missed that. Object wall, and we'll change this to object spike. That's great. Next, I'll just copy this and paste it 4 times, so we'll make 6 spikes and 2 walls, and that's all. Now we want to create these bricks or these objects. Okay, so we will use a for statement. So say for I equals 0, I is less than 6 because we have 6 only, and I plus plus. Now we want to run the script, which be instance create. We are creating the object, so say 0 because we're creating it on the left side. You see, at the furthest left, which is 0 position. So say 0. Okay, and I'm actually using 0 because I placed the origin here at the farthest at the end of the sprite. Okay, so if I would have centered the origin like here, I would have said minus 30 to compensate the 30 pixels here. So instead of that, I'll just put the origin at the end. So we say 0, and the height. Well, now I'll use the big ones, the big walls and big spikes. The size of these walls is 192. Now half of that is 96. Okay, because I'm putting the origin at 96, I need to compensate that. But if it was at 0, I wouldn't have to do anything. I would just say 0. Okay, again. But since I'm centering the origin, I would just compensate that as right here 96. Okay, but I want to add up each time we create an object. So the next object would be below that. How to do this? It will be very easy to use the incrementing I in our favor. So what we would do, we would say plus I times the size of the object would be of the sprite, which would be 192. That's great. And next is the object itself, but we want to extract that from the list. Okay, so let's say ds list find value. Okay, and we'll give it the index, which is left, and the position, which is I. That's great, and that's literally all what we need. Great. Next thing I want to do is I'll just come here and say, let us just copy this and paste it here and call this. Right. Great. Now what I want to do is I want to remove all these and change this to right, and this also to right. Great. And this also to right. Now what I want to do is I want to do just the same. Create 2 walls and 4 spikes. That's great, and the same thing will happen, and there is nothing to change. That's great. Okay, we have this. Now what we want to do is we want to run the script. So say script create walls. Okay, and that's great. Now what I want to do is I want to go and run the game and see if everything works. So let's run it. Well, as you see, everything is working, and the thing is that the walls are outside the room. Now what I want to do is I want to come here. Actually, we forgot to do something important. I missed that. I'm sorry. And it is here. We want to, on the right side, we want to change the X position because we don't want them to be on the left side, we want them to be on the right side. So place them at the end of the room, at the border. So they would be at the position 540. So say 540. Okay, and that's good. Now what I want to do is we want to come to the wall itself and go to the create event, and inside this we'll say first we want the wall to slide in. So what I want to do is I will just go and use a horizontal speed. Now since let's just go and see how many pixels we need. Now I think we need like 40 pixels, okay, because not here, it should be here, okay, so we need 40 pixels. Now what I want to do here, use a horizontal speed, so say horizontal speed equals 4 pixels, and I will move 4 pixels, keep moving 4 pixels per frame for 10 frames, which makes me at a position of 40, and that's exactly what I want. Now the thing is I want to flip the sprite when it's at the right side, because you know all these walls and spikes are facing the right side, which means that they should be at the left side. At the other side, this should be flipped. So what I will say is, if x is bigger than 270, which basically they are on the right side, I want to flip everything. So I'll say image x scale equals -1. That's great. And h speed equals -4. Why? Because I don't want them to slide to the right, I want them to come inside the screen. So I would just flip this speed also, and this has to be after this statement. It's very important. So this would undo this one. And if this statement is not true, it will just pass on. You understand? Now, the next thing, I want to trigger an alarm. And the alarm would be alarm 0 equals, we said we need 10 frames, so I will just use 9 because 0 is counted. That's great. Okay. And in the alarm 0, we say horizontal speed equals 0. So to stop. That's it. That's great. And now, if I run the game, yes, it's working. That's fantastic. Now, what I want to do is I'll just go and add a space. Key released space and restart the game. So you would see the sliding. I think you didn't notice that. You see how they slide in, and that's great. That's exactly what I wanted. Now, in the next tutorial, we will do the collision thing, and we'll do the bouncing thing of the ball itself, and we'll add many new codes and stuffs. And later on, we'll add levels, we'll add start menu, we'll add a lot of things. You just keep up with these tutorials. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. I hope that you learn coding, and you guys have a great day.